Persona 3 Reload Episode Aigis, a long-awaited expansion to Persona 3 Reload. It's finally released on the birthday of Aigis herself. Well, let's see how it does.
Oh my goodness!
Well, it's not too surprising actually. The expansion pack for Persona 3 Reload that contains Episode Aigis has been out for quite some time before the actual release of Episode Aigis. It only contains costume packs before, and the Steam page for it has been used for people to criticize this business practice, leaving negative reviews on the product. Some people criticize that this should have been included in the digital deluxe version of the base game, or that it should have even been in the base game, reflecting what the original fast version on the PS2 had almost 20 years ago. While this is a valid move for players to express their feelings a lot more, unfortunately, this will definitely mask what the actual worth of Episode Aigis is by itself. Of course, the DLC was just released like a few days ago, and some people are still playing the game right now, so this overall rating is also not indicative of the actual review score. However, I have a lot to say already, as I am kinda already fed up on playing it for one simple criticism from a few hours playing it. Oh yeah, before we start, I'm gonna set the scene first. Episode Aigis is only available to buy through the expansion pass, and it is $35. While it actually offers more stuffs like costumes and background music sets, let's be real here. They are basically worthless, as the main reason why people will consider buying this is for Episode Aigis itself. So for the purpose of this review, the whole $35 is for Episode Aigis. So let's see if Episode Aigis is actually worth the $35. First, let's talk about the few good things about Episode Aigis. It is just another Persona. I'm sorry guys, but no matter how much you splice it, Episode Aigis is just another 14-ish hours of Persona gameplay and story again. Well, except for the life simulator part. Episode Aigis is the direct continuation of the original Persona 3 story, and adding that on top of the already amazing story of Persona 3 in reload form is a definite plus. Although it is not an airtight story and gameplay, it is still the familiar system and story that we grew and love in the Persona series, and unfortunately I can't comment further more than that. Although I can sort of mention the sentiment people had about scenes in the story being toned down compared to what it is in the fast version of Persona 3, which is where the crack is starting to show. Some people find these changes to the story to be wholly unnecessary, and I kinda get it. It's kind of a censorship in a way, and censorship is always bad. Or that it kinda butchers some characters that are involved in some way, which is also not good. Honestly, I don't really wanna elaborate further than that. I don't want to spoil the story because it is one of the good things about it. But other than that, I wanna start with the criticism that I personally experienced myself. Because, holy Jesus, what the hell happened to the optimization for this game? Okay, so I've played Episode Aigis on my laptop from Steam. The performance, to put it simply, is really bad. Every second the game will stutter constantly without any signs of stopping, and at some scenes, the game starts to chug really heavily. It becomes unbearable to play. This is the reason why I am fed up with it for now. And before people start to assume stuffs, let's make a comparison on the games that I've played on this same laptop. I've played Warframe here, no lag. I've played Satisfactory, that game is considered to be pretty heavy as well. It runs pretty smoothly. Oh, and I've also played Elden Ring's DLC as well, which is considerably a really heavy game with people complaining about the performance at launch. Yeah, there's some frame drops here and there, but these are frame drops to like 40 to 50 FPS from a stable 60 FPS, which is playable. Persona 3 Reload Episode Aigis for some reason requires a lot more from my laptop. It becomes laughable. I've also tried to lower the settings but to no avail. So at first I thought it is because I played this while I recorded for footage. So when I turn it off, yeah, some constant stutters are gone, but the heavy chugs still happen from time to time. Unfortunately, I can't show some evidence for that because obviously I'm not recording the game while I'm not recording. So the only thing that I can blame this on is that the game was made by Unreal Engine or because of Denuvo, but more so on Denuvo. Denuvo has been villainized as this evil anti-tempered DRM, and it is justified. From testings, it nosedives the performance of every game that uses it, and Persona 3 Reload is no exception. How does this simple turn-based RPG that presumably has a quite lower requirements runs worse than Elden Ring? It's just baffling to me how those performance tank so much. This is a shame really, because Episode Aigis is essentially another few hours of Persona 3, which I absolutely love. Such a shame really that, at least for now, I won't be able to experience the new stuffs that are introduced into Persona 3 Reload's Episode Aigis. Oh, and speaking of new stuffs,
Ravage them!
You'll never see it coming.
Why is it after us? Persona!
Here it comes.
yeah, they added Joker as a special boss battle in Episode Aigis. I thought it was really cool that they would do this. Joker has been a huge icon to the Persona franchise, and doing this is such a bold move by ATLUS because some people would question the canon integrity of Episode Aigis. Bro, I don't care. It's fucking Joker. This is just awesome to have. That being said though, I do have a small gripe of his implementation as a boss here. Not because of story relevancy, but more so on the boss fight itself.
Ravage them!
Unable to fight.
Yeah, it is quickly apparent that Joker is another Elizabeth boss fight. So for those who don't know, Elizabeth is an optional super boss that is now present in the base Persona 3 Reload. Her gimmick is that she has specific hidden rules that the players have to find out for themselves, or search on the internet and follow those rules to defeat her. It is essentially a puzzle game in a boss fight, which is a neat and creative way to design a boss fight. And the fact that this gimmick is present in Elizabeth is also a smart decision on ATLUS' part, because, well, she is a Velvet Room attendant. She is this otherworldly being that only follows her own rules, so the battle gimmick makes perfect sense. However, I think this gimmick overstays its welcome when the Demi-Fiend has the same gimmick but different set of rules as well in SMT5, and Joker has that as well for Episode Aigis. Yeah, for the Demi-Fiend, his case is slightly salvageable since his battle still involves his demons in battle. But the Joker fight looks like a reskin Elizabeth fight with different rules, which is such a missed opportunity of a special boss fight. Furthermore, I also think the whole puzzle boss fight is also somewhat poorly implemented, because there is no way to actually know what the rules are except for trial and error, which means dying over and over and over and over and over again. It is more so poorly implemented when, for example, the rules that you found out is apparently that you can't nullify, repel, or drain the boss's attack. You basically are not allowed to use like 90% of the Persona Compendium. And you have to make specific Persona builds to have a fighting chance against them. Which I guess is the point of the battle, but it goes back to my point of that those rules are not communicated very well because they don't explicitly tell you. If I were to design that, I would sprinkle some of those rules as flavor text on the progress of unlocking that boss fight itself. For example, Elizabeth mentions monad doors that are added for additional interactions within Tartarus and additional loot. but does not essentially mean anything story-wise. Why not sprinkle some of the boss fights rules at the end of each monad's doors as a reward? And for example, for Demi-Fiend's boss battle in SMT5, why not give the previous Fiend bosses some knowledge on the rules that the Demi-Fiend boss battle have? That way, it adds interactivity to the games and you shouldn't have to trial and error on the boss. A puzzle game shouldn't be solved by banging your head on the wall multiple times until you find the answer or look it up on the internet. A puzzle game needs to be solved through context clues and intuition. Okay, enough rant for today. So overall, is Persona 3 Reload Episode Aigis worth $35? Would I recommend you even buy this DLC? That's a tough question to answer. In essence, this is another Persona 3 story and another Persona 3 gameplay. While they are considerably shorter in comparison, they are still Persona. However, with how much I've ranted about the bad experience I've had on it, I can't really recommend this DLC as of now. Especially that it is $35. $35 is a lot of money. Judging by the length of the gameplay alone is already pretty iffy, as people have this system of $1 an hour value rule. I don't think it's a good rule for value since games are more nuanced than that, but in this case, the positive nuances don't really outweigh the negatives. I would say though, I would only recommend people to buy it if you really wanted to experience the story of Episode Aigis. That's pretty much it. If it's possible, I heard it is significantly cheaper to get it on the Game Pass. I don't really know if it still applies, since there are some changes to PC Game Pass quite recently, but then again, it's definitely possible. So if you want to play it, PC Game Pass is a significantly better way to experience it due to price differences. If you have the money though, and you want to pay for it, please avoid PC at any cost, because the Nouveau really stinks the performance and it might not be able to run smoothly on middle to lower end computers. So get it either on the PlayStation or Xbox if you have the money and you wanted to pay for it. Other than that, save your $35 or play other games like Satisfactory.